What is going on, guys? Been crazy tonight. We've been trying to get broadcasting and going for you guys for Trent. How long you been here, bud?
About
an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. A long time.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
about an hour and a half. So glad we're finally able to get with you guys. We don't have the call-in capabilities. We're just doing this off of my phone right now. But we did want to talk to you guys for 15, 20 minutes. It is a little different. Reagan, what's up? Hey, how are you? A little bit different just because we're having to broadcast from the phone, but don't let that discourage you. Make sure that you guys put your comments in and we can get to them. It might be easier to do it this way anyway. But Trent, huge win for the Dogs, man, 27-0. And initial reactions? My first initial reaction, I want to say this because I said it. We had a beautiful intro. I made a beautiful intro, but it didn't save. But I said if you woke up this morning as a Georgia Bulldogs football fan, and you woke up frustrated with the offense instead of pleased with the defense, you got to change your mind. You got to change your attitude. This defense is for real. Quit complaining about the offense. It will come. It will come, but the defense was legit.
Yeah, defense is I mean, you can't ask for any better showing than what they've done the last 2 weeks and just the whole season. The run defense especially.
Yeah.
The run defense has been great.
I love how Kirby put the starters back in. And you might have just been touching on that, but was it 9 games now without a rushing touchdown?
Well,
they were real close.
Well,
they put the first string back in.
And one thing that I noticed was Kirby didn't. It wasn't one of these things where Kirby was like, "Okay, starters go back in." The starters went to him during that timeout and said, or I don't know what they said, but they wanted to go back in, and that right there, it just shows what it means to them. They might not. That stat might not matter in the long run because it's not going to win you a championship. You could go all year and not get a rushing touchdown and you're not going to win your championship. But the fact that meant something to them starters.
Yep.
Them starters wanted to.
It's a pride thing.
They wanted. They didn't want the Missouri in the end zone. The first play was a run. I think the first 2 plays were run plays, stuffed, and then they tried to go to the pass and Georgia shut them down.
Yeah. Chuck, what's up, man? He said, "Hey, from Texas, OU Herschel Walker, what's up, man?" I know we had a question come in. It said, is Alabama, or what are our thoughts about Alabama being in front of Georgia in the coaches and AP poll? I don't really care about the coaches and AP poll at this point. I care about the playoffs because we saw last week how the AP and coaches poll was nowhere near close to the college football playoff. So those are for you to talk about on Sunday and Monday with your friends, but once the real rankings come out.
Here's the thing, and this is the thing for Georgia right now. It doesn't matter if you're ranked first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. You take care of business these last 3 games, and you beat LSU, you're in the playoffs. That's all Georgia has to worry about.
Yep, and Trent, moving forward, I think Georgia made the right steps on the offensive side of the ball. I know some people were complaining about Jake Fromm's, completion percentage and things of that nature. But when I watched the game, I was on the sideline. So it's a little different when you're down there taking photos and you're trying to do stuff like that. You don't get to catch up with the stats. Me, personally, I thought that the offense looked good. And then I saw the stats at the end, and I was like, oh, okay. So what was your thoughts?
I still think Georgia's struggling with run blocking. And it's not
3 different centers.
And it's not a huge struggle. They are just missing an assignment here, an assignment there. Like, for example, they ran a counter play yesterday. Mm-hmm. They brought the wide receivers in tight. Ran a counter play to DeAndre Swift. He's 1 block from literally going 45 yards, and Tyler Simmons missed the block. It's little things like that on the run defense. Now, pass game, Fromm was just a little off yesterday.
Yeah, but you also got to think if they didn't have that the 5 guys in the backfield call, and Fromm adds the 70-so-yard pass to Pickens.
Yeah, I mean, and it looks better. But here's the thing: you got Eli Wolf. Mm-hmm. That Eli Wolf, the ball's late.
Yeah.
You got to deliver that ball out front. He just missed the touchdown to Kyrus Jackson, overthrew in the end zone. There's just the little things that you have to shore up to win a championship, and those are the little things. So Georgia's defense is unreal. If Georgia can hit on a couple of those big plays, the defense is going to close the door on opponents, and you're not going to have to worry about it. But you got to when the defense, when your receivers get that separation, you got to make them pay.
Somebody asked because Bubba called in. No, not tonight, guys. The call-in machine is down. Actually, Wirecast and YouTube isn't playing right together with each other, so we're having to actually broadcast off my phone. We didn't want to not have a show this week, so this was kind of the best option, and the phone keeps kind of moving down, so that's why Trent keeps moving it back up. Oh, it's my elbows, Trent says. All right, that's probably why. But, I think, honest to God, this Georgia team is getting better every week. And if you're a Georgia fan, that's got to be – because let's face it, Trent, after that South Carolina game, this team had one of two ways it could have gone.
Right.
You could have gone straight downhill and lost 4 games and nobody would have batted an eye. Or they could have taken – kind of the high road, and that's what they've done.
We talked a little bit after that game. We said one key to Georgia moving past that South Carolina game was there had to be some leadership stand up, and I think there has. I think that Jake Fromm, for one, you got some leaders on that offensive line that have really stood up and voiced. And I think Cager's another one who has turned into a leadership for that younger wide receiver core. Look, I know that there's not a lot of James Coley lovers out there. I can assure you around the Bulldog Nation, I see it on Twitter. I see it in my mentions. I see it everywhere. But here's what I've seen in the last 2 games. The offensive play calling has been night and day. Now, you have to execute that offensive play calling. The design play to Wolf, great play call. Mm-hmm. There was a play call early in the game where Kearis Jackson ran straight off the safety and the corner on that side, and then they had a delayed crossing route coming. Mm-hmm. That was Cager's first drop of the year, by the way. Went right through his hands, but that was a beautiful play design. They're pulling guards. Mm-hmm. On the first play of the game, they pulled a guard. They pulled Solomon Kinley right into the hole. They are mixing it up. They are doing different stuff, and it's not just run up the gut. And another thing wrong with the running game, I've noticed yesterday the running backs are not hitting the holes that they're cutting it to the wrong in the wrong space at times. Mm-hmm. And I saw DeAndre Swift do it a couple times yesterday, and he had some open lanes to the outside, and he decided to cut it upfield. But it's just little things. I think Georgia's very close on offense from exploding. But they just have to sure up little things.
I saw Reagan ask, is Cager okay? Yeah, I think Kirby said if he needed to, he could have come back in. So I think everybody that was hurt yesterday, I don't know about – there's one of the 3 centers, I'm confused. Kirby mentioned a couple of them. One of the 3 centers, he did not mention injury report.
Trey Hill.
Yeah. So we will see tomorrow the update on Trey.
And I actually thought losing your first center, Caden Mays came in. There was a couple of shaky snaps in there, but overall I thought he did a good job. And then I thought Jamar Salyer did a really good job. I really didn't know when Trey Hill went down. I was like, who's going in the center? I have no clue. And then I saw Caden Mays snapping in on the sidelines, and I was like, well. Then when Caden Mays went down, all the talk was Jamar Salyer couldn't snap. Yeah. And then to see him come in his third team, that just kind of tells you where your top 6, 7 offensive linemen are and what they're doing at practice to kind of interchange those guys.
We've got a question. Kovacevic, what's up? Says, do you still think Tay Crowder can't play in the NFL? He's a beast. Hey, man, he's showing up, man. He's a really good college linebacker.
I'm telling you right now, I will own it. Kovacevic, what is his name?
Kovacevic, man.
Yeah, Kovacevic. He's been here every week.
Yeah.
I will own it, and I will let you know that I was wrong if he plays in the NFL.
Charday says, wide receiver depth is apparent. Pickens making freshman mistakes, but holy hell, I'll take it with what he offers. Yeah, man. Wow. That dude is getting – so he was I know that one thing that Kirby's talked a lot about with George is his maturity level. He was jawing all game with number 8 from Missouri, the corner. And the corner was giving it right back to him, but George had that was before so 8 was talking before Pickens scored. And then at the end, Pickens was the one talking. But those two were going back and forth the whole game. I mean, everybody in the sidelines was listening to him.
But
he's a talker.
Oh yeah, and the thing about Pickens, he's not short on confidence. He thinks he's going to beat you in whatever cornerback's on the field. He ain't scared of them. He's going to go at them. But one thing I did see, I know the receiver core is the lack of depth is real. They don't have depth at receiver. But I thought one guy who played really good yesterday was Kirby Jackson. He created separation. He made a good catch over the middle.
He was on the field everywhere.
He's a good blocker. I think that adding him as a fifth guy, and he's playing outside. Mm-hmm. So adding him as a fifth guy to that rotation, that helps Georgia.
Alan says, guys, what do you think about the Auburn game? Yeah, we were going to touch on that, but Reagan says favorite player. Don't really have favorite players because we cover the team. One guy that I want to see do well is Channing Tindall. That's just my guy. I think he's a beast. His highlight tape was one of my favorites.
When we talk about favorite player, we go back to the recruiting trail and who we had good relationships with as far as prospects. I mean, you can go back to Malik Herons, Richard LeCounts.
Yep.
I mean, there's just a bunch of guys that we have relationships with that we built over the 3 or 4 years. Rivals Challenge and stuff like that we got to spend a good amount of time with. So there's a bunch of guys out there.
But if there was one guy just like out there, Channing Tindall, I would like to see because I think he can get like 190,000 tackles in a season.
Hey, what about one thing I was impressed with yesterday? Monty Rice, all over the field when he was in there, and you can tell how smart of a football player he is. It's just his read and react skills and just his burst to get to the ball carriers.
Kyle just said, "Will Auburn game be a low scoring day?" So yeah, we'll talk about that game now. So. First off, I think whoever wins the game is going to be like 2017, 2014. It's going to be really low because both teams have an incredible defense, and both teams' offenses are definitely the worst of the two offensive defensive sides of the ball.
You know what Georgia's going to do the same thing they did to Florida, same thing they did to Missouri. They're going to take away Auburn's run and force Bo Nix to beat them. Yeah. If Bo Nix can beat them, more power to them. But that's what they're going to force them to do.
And I don't think that Bo Nix can. But at the same time, Auburn's defense is probably the best they've faced this year. Florida's is up there.
I'm going to say Florida. Auburn has a good defense. I'm not taking away, but they got a good defense because of their defensive line.
Yeah, Florida's better middle linebacker back, safeties, corners, stuff like that.
I don't think the back end of Auburn is more talented than what Georgia's seen. But I'm going to tell you right now, Missouri was really good on defense.
They were
really physical. A lot of team speed over there. I was really impressed with Missouri's defense.
They held Georgia to 4 field goals.
He missed one, but they were in the. They attempted 5 field goals. So, 2 touchdowns. They held them 2 touchdowns, but a lot of that had to do with Georgia not executing when the players were there. But I thought Missouri's the defensive line for sure was very talented.
Alan asked, why is Landers and Simmons getting on the field so much? They're probably the 2 of the better blockers Georgia has. So when you see them on the field, it's almost a given that they're going to run.
The one thing that I wasn't a fan with, and you're talking about offense yesterday, and I haven't had an issue with the offense the last 2 weeks as far as play calling or coaching, but there was several plays where you saw Kirby Jackson, Tyler Simmons run in. They're on either side of the field. They're just running 2 wide receiver sets. They got a tight end. Most of the time it was Eli Wolf in those situations. And it was a guaranteed run. There was never a pass of that. So you can't be that predictable with those sets. I understand you want to get Tyler Simmons them on the field, but you can't be that predictable because I know they're good blockers, but you can't say, okay, we're going one-dimensional.
We got a couple more questions. Oh, Elite, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. We're the field goal champions of the world. Go Dogs. Yeah, that's what Kirby said at the end of the game yesterday. He said it felt like he's kicked 20,000 or something like that against some 28 or whatever. Let's see. Kovacevic says, how do you guys see the pass rush evolution after 9 weeks? We'll get to that. And then Andy says, can we run up the middle on Auburn? I'm assuming we use Georgia, and that is going to be no. So get outside.
But you see they've been preparing for that. They couldn't run up the middle against Missouri either.
They can't because they haven't been able to run up the middle the last 6 weeks.
Derek Brown is about on par with what Missouri's defense tackle. Their defense tackle is probably a top 20 pick. And he's very talented.
And Kovacevic says, how do you guys see the pass rush evolution after 9 weeks? I think it's getting better. I think you're seeing a lot more Nolan Smith. He was really close yesterday. I wish you guys could have seen my photo gallery. I am no photographer like my
Nolan Smith had a sack yesterday.
my
Quay
man.
Walker had a sack yesterday.
But yeah, he was close to 2 or 3 more that I got photos of. Nolan was really good.
I thought
Malik is really stepped up.
I'm telling you, Malik Herring, Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
Devontae Wyatt's been solid all year. Devontae Wyatt has been the best defensive lineman for Georgia, but Malik Herring and Jordan Davis
has really stepped up.
They've really stepped up this past 2 weeks.
But the whole, really, I mean, if we're talking about the whole defense has really stepped up. Another guy that stepped up big, Trent, DJ Daniel, man. And when he first got thrown into there, it was like, oh my God, where is Tyson Campbell? Yesterday, it wasn't so bad. You weren't really like, where's Campbell? Obviously, Campbell was playing, but DJ was still getting some minutes, though.
Campbell made some good plays on the ball. He knocked away a drag right over the middle. I think that's the thing Campbell brings. He brings elite speed to that secondary, and he can cover those drag routes. Now, one thing DJ Daniel brought, he almost decapitated that receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big hit. There was a lot of big hits yesterday.
There were.
I know Tyndall filled the gap one time, about knocked somebody out. And not Tyndall.
I was going to say, I
Tay Crowder.
think he did.
Sorry. Tay Crowder.
I was going to take it, though.
And Lewisine. God. That last play of the game, he about to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So.
Stevenson was playing really good on the tight end. Chase says, yeah, Kirby pointed that out at the post-game press conference. We were sitting in there. Somebody asked, why was Tyreek seeing more of the field? He said, because McGee is hurt or McGee wasn't able to play, right?
And
then also they had so they didn't have McGee go. They had Mark Webb at the star, and then so they put Tyreek at the money. Stevenson,
which is usually Devod Wilson.
Yeah, and no, it was Devod. It was Devod that was a little shaken up, but he played till a little bit. But anyways, the defense was shaken up, and he stepped up big. So Stevenson is going to be really good for Georgia.
Georgia definitely have depth on defense. So they're rotating 7-8 defensive linemen. They got a 4-man linebacker rotation going, inside linebacker rotation going with Quay Walker and then 2 starters, Crowder and Monty Rice, and then add in N'Kobe Dean.
Yeah.
That's 4 really good inside linebackers, and then you have the outside linebacker rotation is just nuts. And when you got Adam Anderson that's getting about 3 or 4 snaps a game, your outside linebacker core is very good. And then on the back end, they can throw guys in. I think the only place where the depth's not as good is at safety.
Yeah.
But Lewisine is going to be a problem in the SEC moving forward.
Yeah. We'll take a couple more questions, guys, a couple more comments, and then we're going to go ahead and jump off of here. We need to get some food. But Elite says, what I want to know is, besides Cager, who y'all see as the next breakout wide receiver? Obviously Pickens. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But also, I like seeing Blaylock returning some punts yesterday, getting the ball in his hands. I really think that this receiving core is in a much better spot right now than it was in week 1 because you've had some guys grow up. You've had Pickens grow up, Blaylock grow up. You've gotten Kieras back healthy. D-Rob, we still don't really know what's going on with that. He has his moments. Cager is a guy that I think we talked about a little bit in the preseason, but it wasn't one of those things where it blew you away. We thought he was going to be a guy where you saw him in the red zone a lot. He's really, really stepped up, and he's actually stepped up, and he's become a leader.
Well, I mean, you saw the first play of the game, or it might have been the first play or second play of the game, where Cager's not known for his speed. He's known for his physicality, but he blew that daggone corner's doors off right off the beginning, and it made them. It opened up a lot of stuff, short passes, him beating him deep right off the bat down the sideline. That was a pretty pass by Fromm on that one. The wide receiver core is in a better place because they've added a few more guys to the thing. I think Dominic Blaylock stepped up. I think, and then Kieras Jackson's finally healthy and he's starting to step up. And Pickens just got some more time up under his belt. I mean, he looked really good yesterday. If they can get a healthy Pickens on one side, and he's been healthy all year, but they can get Pickens and on one side and Cager on the other.
And then just rotate Kieras, Dom.
Yeah,
and
I don't think the
Demetrius.
passing game. I think they just got to hit the passes. I think that's the main thing. Fromm was, I don't know what his numbers were yesterday, but
it wasn't great.
It wasn't great. His
Statistically, it wasn't.
Completion percentage wasn't great, and I don't really look at overall completion percentage because I know there was a couple drops in there. Cager had a drop. I think Tyler Simmons had his hands on the ball, but. I don't look at overall completion. I look at missed opportunities more than anything, and they had several missed opportunities for big plays yesterday.
Yeah. But overall, guys, you got out with a win, 27-0. Your defense, I think, here's a couple of takeaways, Trent, and you can add on to mine. Number one, like I talked about when we opened up the show, be happy with your defense. Don't look at the offense. The offense is still a work in progress. Your defense is a completed project. Watch what it does and hope that your offense gets there. Second thing is 27-0 against the SEC team who, let's remind you, had they beaten Georgia yesterday, they would have been in the driver's seat to win the SEC East. Okay, so I know everybody talked about the Georgia-Florida game being like that, but Missouri was the same way. And then third, I think this team is really starting to gel. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was some type of bonding moment or something along those lines. They look different. They look different in person. They look different to me when I'm on the field, how they're able to interact with each other. For instance, they were trying to put Warren McClendon in at the end of the game yesterday, Trent, just to get him some experience or something like that. He wasn't paying attention, but he was on the other side. It's no fault to him. They just called out for his name randomly. And the whole team, defensive side of the ball, secondary, Richard LeCount, Tyreek Stevenson, were giving this man hell because he couldn't find his helmet. But that's one of those things where at the beginning of the season, I don't know if Richard LeCount's going to really give Warren McClendon hell. But now it's almost like a brotherhood. When I walked by, I saw that and I was like, okay, that seems different. The energy, the chemistry, and you can feel those type of things when you're walking by 100 football players.
And I think a lot of that, there was a lot of, I think more of team bonding kind of coming together. Yeah. During the bye week, really, you saw a different team at Florida. You saw more communication, more between the coaches too. I mean, you see Pittman come over and hug Kirby after the game. I mean, you're seeing that kind of the brotherhood come together, and you get that they got young players. I mean, they got a lot of young players playing. They talked about
every position.
They talked about yesterday. They said somebody said that Bama's going to be tough to deal with down the stretch because they got a bunch of true freshmen in there too deep on defense. Look at the guys that Georgia's playing. I mean, you got just on the two deep on defense. You got N'Kobe Dean, you got Trayvon Walker, you got
Nolan Smith, Tyreek
Stevenson, Lewis Seen. Lewis Seen's the second team safety. You got a lot of guys, and you know then redshirt freshman, you got Azeez Ojulari, you got Devon Wilson. I mean, you got
transfers. DJ Daniels' first year with the team.
You got freshmen all over the place, and it takes a while, for these young kids to really adapt to what they're actually playing more.
I mean, Trent, let's just think about this, and this doesn't go for Georgia. Think you're 18 years old, Trent, okay? You're a 5-star prospect in the state of Texas. You want to go to Georgia. You like the program. You like Kirby. But guess what, man? You just enrolled, and now you got to go into college courses at the University of Georgia. You just were the man walking around your high school in Texas. Now you're in a strength and conditioning program with crazy ass.
You're on scout team.
Yeah, you're in the strength and conditioning program with crazy ass Scott Sinclair and his guys working you to death. You got to learn how to eat properly because when you were in high school, it didn't matter what you ate. You were 250 pounds and a grown ass man. Now you got to learn how to eat. And like Trent said, you're just trying to find your way around the damn campus.
Yeah.
And this doesn't go for just Georgia, but when you're thinking about freshmen, guys, just relax. Georgia's going to be okay. He's going to get through it. Dom's going to be okay. It happens every year, but these guys have to grow up. They're children. Then when they step on campus, they're small adults that are living by themselves for the first time. So
and you've seen a lot of growth, but I think, and you're going to see a lot of growth next week because I can assure you, this is going to happen. They are trying. George Pickens is I won't say emotional, but he is.
Oh, he's emotional.
He is.
You're right.
He's going to give everything he's got, but also he's going to show it. He's going to show his emotion. They are going to try to get him knocked out of the game, kicked out of the game. This is Auburn. He was committed to Auburn forever. They are going to try to get him kicked out of the game. He has to control his emotions, because
I didn't even think about that.
Because especially with Lawrence Cager, he's one hit away from being out of the game all game. You can't have that shoulder separate.
And that's not bad against Cager. He's got a really serious injury, he's playing through pain.
He's definitely going to require off-season surgery. There's no doubt about it. But Cager's got an issue, but Cager's going to play. I guarantee that. But you got to have George Pickens. George Pickens is an important piece to Georgia beating Auburn, and he's got to control his emotions.
Yeah, Kyle says, Auburn going to play dirty early. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that rolls around the circles with those guys. Better to have someone you have to pull
no
back than
doubt.
someone you have to fire up. Katie, yeah, you're exactly right, man. You can look at a bunch of guys in the NFL and the NBA right now that you can tell have all the talent in the world.
It's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, George
And they
Pickens,
don't.
I love George Pickens. He plays, no Sean Moreno, never an issue, but he played energized. He played with that emotion. He talked. He was going to, that's not a bad thing.
Richard LeCount talks the whole game, too.
They love playing the game. They love being out in making plays for their team. I saw George Pickens. He didn't have a catch against Florida, but he was the first one running off the field celebrating. But it's just the type of guys they are, and I know that him being a long time Auburn commit, they're going to try to put it to him, and he's just got to control that.
Again, guys, sorry we didn't have the call-in show tonight. Wirecast is the program we used. It broadcasted to YouTube, and those two programs were not talking together. So we wanted to go live on my phone just to give you guys something to talk about. And we're glad we were able to talk to you guys in the comments. Thank you for showing up. 95 people in here right now. We appreciate it. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Show Riding to Bolsey. We're the best show on YouTube. Not him doing the show, but make sure you guys tune in on Saturday for the show with Jim Donnan on the Watch Along Show.
What's your prediction?
Oh, yeah. And you guys put your predictions in for the game, too, in the chat. Drop your prediction for the chat. We'll close off with that, guys. Great little show. Thank you, Elite. Kovacevic, my man, always here with us. Prediction, Trent, I'm going 2017. 2017. Do I have to say who's going to win that? Or can I just give you the score?
You got to say who wins it.
Ooh. 24. God, Trent. 2017 Georgia.
I like that. Here's the thing.
If it was in Georgia, I'd have no problem saying that. It's at Auburn. That's the only problem with me.
Here's my thing. Georgia went a couple of years ago with Roquan Smith and that whole squad.
Yeah.
Got their doors beat off.
They did.
But I'm gonna tell you this: Auburn ain't as good on offense as they were then.
Yeah,
Auburn doesn't have the running back they have now. That they had then. They had a healthy Kerryon Johnson.
They did.
There was a lot in play with that, and I'm gonna go on a limb and say Georgia's defense is better than it was that year. Not from a star standpoint, but overall.
Yeah, I mean the numbers show it. The numbers show it.
Auburn's offense is really bad if you make them one-dimensional and make Bo Nix beat you. Really bad. Georgia makes teams pay that does that. I'm going to take Georgia by 10.
You got to give me a score, though. You can't just say by 10.
I'm going to take 24-14.
Okay. I dig it.
I think Jake Fromm makes some big plays in the passing game, and you got to think that Georgia's not going to not come prepared like they did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That whole offensive line room was there. They played in that game. They know what to expect. That whole offensive line has played against Derek Brown and that bunch several times. They'll be ready.
All right, guys. So you guys see it. You guys see what's going on. 3 keys to Georgia's victory. Trent says Jake Fromm's got to make some big passes. Offensive line for Georgia. And obviously the defense is going to have to step up. For me, I think you got to control your emotions on the field. Everybody does. That includes Jake Fromm, George Pickens, everybody. Because Auburn is going to try to get you in a situation that you're not comfortable in. I think as long as you can, first and second quarter, just kind of play it even, play it keel, get in there and get out. I think second half is Georgia's, and that's when they shut down Bo Nix. Guys.
Georgia, what was it, 2000, what year are we in now? 2019? I think it was 2000, when was it, 2013, one of those years.
2013?
11 or 13.
Jesus, Trent.
One of those years back then, they went to Auburn and clinched. They have a chance to clinch on Saturday.
Oh.
So what you're doing Saturday, you're playing for a championship. Auburn's not playing for a championship. Georgia's got a lot to play for, and they'll come motivated.
I have no idea why Stuart Nix said Josh Harvey Clemens. He was a beast, though. But I did not expect that name tonight.
Hey, how about McCole Hardman?
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. So, guys, get over to UGAsports.com. We've got a ton of info up over there. We'll have the grades up.
Oh, and we got a war room coming.
Oh, yeah. We got a war room. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. I don't know how to turn this off, Trent. How do we do this?
Y'all have a good night.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. No, seriously. How you turn it off?